Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. I'm always excited to introduce to you the #1 Protoss player in the world. Not the one we deserve, but the one we need right now. In the bottom left, the smiling assassin. It's herO. And we're gonna need a herO to take on a final boss in the top right, in the finals of this Korean StarCraft 2 League match yet again. It's Dark. A best of 5 ZVP. Last week, it felt like Dark was toying with herO. Multiple times it felt like Dark could win the game, yet he steps back, takes a look at herO, who dropped his side blade and said, "Pick it up." And again, he picks it up. And again, they've made it to the finals. And again, I am once again asking you to like and subscribe. And Jimmy, what 1,000, if we get 1,141 likes on this video, on this cast, I'll cast another series. And since Dark versus herO is happening, it seems at least every week, well, I think it's likely I'll do it anyways. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. I have no predictions for this matchup. I don't know which herO is coming to the table today. I don't know whether the final boss has decided he's going to win this one, or if he's going to give herO a shot. But, whoop, Probe comes in, completes the wall, maybe at the cost of his life. Nope, the Adept makes the save. And so far, so good. herO able to establish even a temporary wall. That's a good sign. And Dark, unable to get any of his early Zergling shenanigans. I do once again want to stress that herO has won more games and more series against Dark. I don't know percentage-wise if that's necessarily the case, than anyone else. He's got about a 57% win rate against him over about 150 series. I think it's like 87 and 73 or something like that. Which, even though it feels like Dark dictates the pace of most series, doesn't necessarily make him infallible. And that's why we love to watch. But again, herO who defines the meta for Protoss. He is the one who popularized this Moracles opener. 3 Oracles to start, Adepts to kind of keep the Zerg honest, force out Zerglings if you get a bit greedy, if you don't have Queens in the right spot, or you're just a little light on the Zerglings. Well then, the Adepts can get some drone damage. The Oracle can cover the Adepts as well. So, quite a technical opener, to say the very least. But, oh, never mind. Royal Blood on the way across the map named after it. The Queens are marching in game. Brenda, can you go any faster? You know exactly how fast I can go, Susan. Don't judge me for this. All right, we call it methodical, not slow. And sorry, I blacked out for a second. But the Queens are almost at the base. And while they won't be able to transfuse off a creep, still providing some anti-air support. The Zerglings get the wraparound gank onto the Adepts. The Oracles sitting at the edges trying to burn through and actually helping out a lot. 3 shield batteries, 4 shield batteries in production right now. 1 at the wall, at the natural. The Queen's trying to break through, just going straight through the Cyber Core. No overcharge utilized yet. The Cyber Core itself being targeted down. The battery is drained of energy. He used all of it and then uses the overcharge. He's got to hold the door. And right now, the overcharge is doing just enough to do so. The overcharge doesn't require that extra energy, but the Zerglings coming around. The Queens, a 5th Queen has shown up here, but Oracles have completed. The Adepts tucked into the back line. Dark, the Wave 2 is ready. He's not done yet. Banelings on the way. And if the Zerglings weren't able to claw their way through, the Banelings might be able to bust in. herO on the other side of the map is going to try to trade for economy. I don't think he expected the commitment. The Banelings, he needs to recall out. herO underestimated Dark's commitment. And with it, that may cost him. Yes, the Banelings are trying to close in on the Adepts, but so far, herO's done a near perfect hold, considering the situation, but the Queens almost get enough for an Oracle. The 3rd Nexus is not long for this world. Dark is making drones behind this. So he will take the 3rd. I am very surprised he didn't try to bust through that Pylon and Cyber Core combo. Not even Dark, I think, expected herO to commit the Oracles on the other side of the map, but indeed he did. And it will cost herO a third. But Dark, his own third base is being melted. The Queens going to be picked off one by one. Regicide is on the agenda. As even though herO, I would call it, it was a judgment call to send the Oracles across the map. One that he clearly, he just didn't expect the Banelings out of Dark. And the Banelings were incredibly costly. Even though herO didn't get the third, the worker count is not there. I think herO amputated his Nexus in order to save the rest of his economy. And with these Oracles still on the field, he kept such great control of them. herO came to play today. Well, then again, alright, I'm reminded of how last time in this series. Yeah, last time in herO versus Dark, herO went up 2-0, and then Dark decided he'd use his keyboard. I don't know what happened there, but then Dark won 3 in a row. So even though herO's looking very good right now, I'm not going to try to read into it particularly far, because I'll just end up feeling illiterate. But Dark does have his work cut out for him here. He doesn't. He's just now getting he just started his lair. 7 minutes in. Okay, that's mostly so he can check that off like I tried, as opposed to something I think that's going to be a meaningful part of this game. herO, surprisingly timid on moving out with his army. I guess he just, well, if he sees the lair timing, he can do pretty much whatever he wants. The fact that herO, the fact that Dark is just now getting a lair indicates to herO that at the very least he has a minute or two until any sort of tech kicks in. The Oracles should be able to deal with a Nidus, just burning through it relatively easily. There is a tiny gap of vision, or lacking vision here, in the main base, which is something you must be very careful about, because in the darkness, well, you won't be for... Okay, alright, I butchered it, but you shouldn't be surprised to find Dark in the dark. Ooh, that was still bad. Okay, imagine I said something clever. Moving on. The joke was good. The execution, not so much. But Archon drop. A good middle ground between playing more defensively and still being able to keep tabs and pressure on your opponent. Rarely seen nowadays, as it's just simply a... It's a big risk for usually relatively small reward, as the Archons are pretty easily countered by Queens or Roaches. But in this case, where Dark's economy has been kind of a shoestring for quite a while, well, I don't think Zerg have shoes, but once again, if they did, herO is skirting the edges of the creep and threatening the units in a way that Oracles can't really do. And especially combined with that Observer, just clearing up the edges of the creep here. And Queens aren't going to be able to deal with this nearly as easily as they would 1 or 2 Oracles. Well, thing is though, Dark lived. And now he's thriving. He's been immensely greedy. He's at 75 drones right now. He's taken 4 bases. So what was once a pretty comfortable lead for herO is now becoming less so. I'd still put him in a lead. But in terms of supply and his economy, it's starting to even up. +2 ground weapons for Protoss, +1 armor on the way, as well as Blink. And herO has a lot. One thing that can sometimes be lacking with heavy tech builds is just the sheer gateway count. You might have a Warp Prism, some Archons, some Oracles, but the amount of gateway units on the field is pretty healthy here for herO. And that should keep him healthy as well. Dark is nearly... What did herO lose? Oh no, he's warping in another round. Okay. It was just Dark went so far up in supply, it felt like there was a weird disparity, but just brought in a bunch more units. +2 melee attack is done. Those fateful Banelings capable of one-shotting probes. There's several stasis wards. Beautiful Oracle usage so far. He's lost 2 of them, but they've been well worth their weight, and they're not a cheap unit either. The Oracle, the Observer rather, providing, oh, beautiful force field wall. Stasis force field. There's one Zergling feeling very left out there. well, really left in, but that stasis literally boxing out, creating the most impenetrable force field of Dark's own units. And look at this meaty Protoss army here. Blink's back. Oh, he kind of abandons the Immortals. Okay. Well, looks like the bones are getting stripped off first. The meat will follow with the Stalkers. Hey, losing the Immortals up front was definitely a bit questionable. As blinking, unfortunately, Immortals cannot blink. Maybe nice balance point? Down. Oh, loses an Oracle and the Shield Battery. This is turning around for Dark. As the Banelings roll in another round, the Corrosive Biles have started to do the damage. A Stasis blocks out the other Baneling just barely. Once again, the Stasis will save him. But the Oracles come in. Another one popped by the Knitting Crew with the back line. Roaches and Ravagers streaming in, and Dark may be able to overtake. herO had such a comfortable position, and Dark is making it incredibly awkward as he takes game one. What a turnaround there. So, this is not going to be a crazy pro tip for most of you, but I would recommend not blinking all your Stalkers away from your Immortals. You know, there is a chance that herO meant to blink a single Stalker, maybe a small group, and ended up catching all of them. I think that is the only explanation that makes sense to me. And small mistakes can have big consequences when Dark is already gnawing away at the Immortals and their little Dragoon legs. And by the way, next time you see an Immortal, take note. It has, like, Dragoon legs. If we could take the big turret off it and just turn it into a Dragoon, would that be a buff? Well, if you could put it back on, maybe, as well. Moving on. Game 2. Ancient Cistern. I really thought herO had a good position there. But Dark just rolled him. There were no storms. There were no disruptors. Just kind of gateway units and lonely Immortals. And Dark knows how to pick that apart. The brute force approach, while not particularly subtle, is incredibly effective, which is Dark in a nutshell. All right, so I was hyping up herO like, oh my god, he's on point today. Look at this Oracle control. Look at this preparation. Look at this Archon drop, which, I'll be honest now, it's easy to say in hindsight, felt like a little lackluster for the situation he was in. Maybe he was misreading how much economy Dark truly had by the end of it. But Dark is a player who can double his drone count in a minute. I don't care what the drone count is. Somehow, he goes from 35 to 70 drones before you can blink. And, well, that's not that hard because blink takes... Oh, my. Well, blink takes 2 minutes to finish, but more importantly... I can't believe he killed... I can't.
We got him.
herO. herO. Oh, no. Well, that is not an auspicious start. You obviously don't want to lose the probe, but it is so easy not to that I'm surprised Dark even went for it. But he saw the opportunity, he smelled blood. I mean, just take a look at this actual photorealistic portrait of Dark. Here, taken at his manor. So, just a casual demeanor right up until he orders your execution. And after, as well. It's not a big part of his day. Dark is multiple times per week in multiple finals. You might... I'm going to take this time for some meta commentary. You might notice that there are so many videos titled StarCraft 2 Finals. And one, that's because it works as clickbait. And two, because it is true. Between the 3 ESL Weekly Cups, the Korean StarCraft 2 League, and probably 3 or 4 different, like, minor to medium-sized tournaments, there are sometimes up to half a dozen relatively major finals per week. Now, grand finals, I think, is reserved for major tournaments in the high 4-digit or 5-digit prize pool range. But this is still several $100s on the line. Actually, the Korean StarCraft 2 League is a little, I believe, higher than... Yes, it doesn't matter. The point is, the reason you see that is because there are so many finals. And the reason you see Dark so much is statistically, he's in more of them than anyone else. Like, at least a third of the time, he's in the NA or Korean finals. Much of the time, both. So he's played the most pro games of anyone this year. Beyond and Kira... Well, Kira was holding that title last year. Oh my god. herO. I need to go back for a moment, though. I thought I saw something crazy happening here. That probe. Wow. That probe just... No. Give him the cold shoulder. The Zerglings didn't even want to bother with it. Unfortunately, all the confidence and evasiveness that probe has, or had, the Oracle didn't. The probe may have stolen it from it, as the Oracle just dies to queens, which is not ideal. In fact, some might even go so far as to call it pretty bad. Well, the Lings have gotten more than they ever deserved to do. Making it a little more annoying to take that third. The Debs are headed across the map instead. I'm not sure Dark quite had an Overlord in position to see it. 5 Adepts. Enough Zerglings on the way to deal with it. He zones out the Shade. Actually snipes off a couple Creep Tumors. Not a bad start to this. He's actually just walking by. Wow, that's offensive. Quite literally. Oracles, he lit up both of them, which is a bit wasteful in the energy there, but Zerglings are all cleaned up. Dark with the Nidus. He's decided, it's that time of the day. Or it's a day that ends in Y. We're going to do a Nidus all-in. These are not glaved Adepts. They're just a lot of Adepts here. It's going to be another kind of awkward semi-base trade. The Adepts, okay, they did not see the Nidus. They see a suspiciously high amount of queens. But very, very importantly, did not see the Nidus. And now into the main. herO will see it. He has a pylon. The Oracles head back. And Stalkers warp in. He should be able to deal with this in time. Well, a little close, but Adept shading back. Another Nidus. This one a little further out. Dark perfectly happy to work from the outside. It's just easier if you start in. And the Oracles, well, it's a little late now. I don't think the Oracles have enough of the Queens have arrived. And we're back. The whole crew here. In fact, there's a few too many queens in the kitchen. Oh, come on. No, 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 no. herO, wake up. Wake up. Oh my god, the Nidus. I don't even think Dark expected this one. Yeah, Dark did not expect this one to work. Oh, but no, herO! Oh my god! Oh, it's a disaster. Actually, well, it's not good. I'm not gonna go with disaster. It's an emotional disaster, but this is actually not doing very much damage. He's killed 10 He just leaves. The creep is now going to deny the next base, or get close to it. There's still queens in the Nidus. They're popping out back at home. Crew's back in town. Wow. A dozen queens. Not a record for Dark, but it's getting up there. I've seen 22 before with one Ultralisk. One very lucky Ultralisk, if you know what I mean. Lots of transfuse. Don't be weird. Spire's on the way. Mortars! Very likely. In this sort of scenario, he's once again limited herO. 2 games in a row, herO's been knocked down to 2 bases. And this time around, He's doing an Archon drop again. Which, if you can scout the Spire in time, you can start building Phoenixes, which technically hard counter Mutas. As with unlimited micro and unlimited space, well, they can kite Mutas till the end of time. But, well, that's a lot of queens. There's also the Gateway army here. Not looking particularly intimidating. The Archon drop taking some more hits. No third base. All Dark has to do is hold this. The War Prism gonna warp in 6 charge lots into the main. The Archons will hold the ramp. Drones moving around. Roaches have speed done. No other upgrades. And the Spire will be spotted here. He saw it, right? Yeah, the Spire's done. The charge lots into the third. These two always have such ridiculous games. Adept's trying to shade away targets. The hatchery. Another attack. The transfuses are actually keeping this hatch alive. He's pulling back, and he saves it for now, but another army heads north. There are 20 drones stacked up. Well, he notices here. Queens, trying to flank. Oh, hero's not looking. The Warp Prism. The Warp, he gets it. The Archon gotta glide its way out. The Roaches are chasing. But overall... Well, that was a surprisingly effective attack for how haphazard it kind of seemed. But I don't... Even though he saw the Spire, I don't think herO saw the Spire. He's not building any Phoenixes. He's building Moracles. He's getting a couple Archons, but 8 Mutas are going to make things to... Oh no. The pylon died. And now a Nidus comes in again. Dark thrives in the darkness. No, we're gonna land it one of these times. The Mutas, Adept shady into the third. Zerglings move to intercept. Oracle's driven out. Nidus into the main, still not spotted. Adepts get 7 drones, not bad. But the Roaches are starting, oh my god, the Forge. A pylon that powers so much of the tech as well. A sentry will go down. He gets right back into the Nidus. More Roaches just scuttling by here. And oh yeah, remember? The Mutas. Dark just has the run of the place here. It feels like he has the entire game so far. Multiple Niduses in the base. Mutas flying in, Zerglings. He pops out some run. The herO just taps it out. Dark got 2. All right. Well, this is certainly not an ideal start for herO. Dark this time on all cylinders. It feels like the haphazard attacks with seemingly, essentially whoever's around of gateway units are just not cutting it. They're not going to be enough to complete the achievement for beating the final boss this time around. On Grezvin, herO better come up with something a little more coherent, or I would go the entire other direction and say a little more wild. But you can't have it both ways. You can't try to do like a comfortable 3-base macro build and then pull back into some YOLO toss timing. Because Dark is already 2 steps ahead and behind you. That's how Niduses work. Alright, look in front of you. You see Dark. Turn around. He's still there. And that's how Dark do. Drone. On the other crossroads, just not going to bother. He's not going to be heading across the map. Well, okay, yeah, it's already far too late. As you know, if the Protoss deems it, the 2 places a Zerg gets to expand is their third or their opponent's natural, or nearby at least, for proxy hatch reasons. So far, what are we missing from Dark's playbook? Well, it feels like he adds something new every week. But we haven't seen Swarm Hosts. We've covered a lot here. We got the Queen Push and the Nidus and Mutas. And of course your standard Ravager Bane. We got the Zerglings running in. We haven't seen any later game, but that's more hero's fault than anything, to be honest. Swarmhouse are the big one here, I think. That, and yeah, we had a Ling Bane bust already. I would say Hydra timing, but not much of a thing. Ravager Queen is usually good enough to cover the same things. Like, Hydras on paper are a great unit, but Zerg isn't lacking in great units against Protoss in the early game. And Hydras suffer from... well, Hydras are expensive, they're fragile, and prone to getting caught without enough to really cover them. They're such a big investment. That's why most of the time they're more treated like lurker eggs than they are a frontline fighting unit. As you can see, Dark is essentially emulating the role the Brood War Hydra did, which is a hatch tech anti-air unit with the Queen. So, a relatively low DPS, but still capable of anti-air unit in the early game. So, Dark has found a way to make that happen, even if it is slowly trudging the Queens across the map at like the 4-minute mark. Oh, depth. Oh. Dark dodged it accidentally there, as herO expected him to get the spore in time. But he just clicked on the other drone. Dark didn't quite have it. Overlord, a Phoenix! Well, hello. It's been a bit. It looks like not just one, but at least twice as much. A mass Phoenix build. Or at least a Phoenix opener. Gonna have probably 4 or 5 to start. It's got some gates behind. But it's been a while since we've seen a very heavy... the Oracles aren't doing it. So, that is quite a shift. Phoenixes do build up a lot of value over time. The reason you don't see them as often is they kind of... You can't deal with 30 Zerglings. 30 Zerglings on your third base. And, well, the Phoenixes can lift 4 or 5 of them, feeling pretty useless while they do so. Maybe the lift should be based on the weight of the unit they're lifting. All right? Not to energy shame queens, but let's just say a queen probably weighs a little more than a Zergling. So. All right, let's do our weigh-ins before the game. 4 Phoenixes. hero's still on 2 bases. He's got a Robo on the way. Has he yet? Did he finish Twilight? No. Forge. And +1. How many gates? 3 gates. Huh. Is he going Phoenix Colossus? Because why get the upgrades? If you're going Disruptor, you don't really need the upgrades early. The Disruptor doesn't get any benefit from it. What an idea. I think it's Phoenix Colossus. Meanwhile, the Phoenix is, well, continually getting damage done. Pick off another drone, though it might cost him one. Knitting through, trying to deal with this. Dodging away from the spore. That one was a bit optimistic. Don't want to lose. Or he just goes for the sentry drop? Adding a bunch more gates. That could be a fake third. Is he building probes? He is not. Ah! A decoy third, but Dark hasn't really scouted it, so... It's a Warp Prism timing with that just a full-on gateway time. He's been doing a pretty good job of keeping Dark busy with the Phoenixes. Thing is, he's been doing such a good job, Dark hasn't even seen the third yet. So he's not going to be fooled as easily by this timing, as he didn't see the third base early. Yeah, Dark building 10 more drones. I think it's working, though. Look at the production tab. herO No probes in production. No extra tech. He's putting everything into this. The War Prism drops off some Adepts into the main. And 6 kills so far. And counting. This is only going to encourage Dark to keep droning. herO, so far. Like, the fact he's getting this much damage done is pretty obscene. 14 drones down in the last minute. And now he's mustering for a much stronger attack. Infestation Pit is on the way for Dark, but little does he know. And he has no knowledge at all. The Phoenixes have kept him busy. The Warp Prism kept him distracted. And now Dark has nothing. He's completely blind. He's just now building roaches. It is far too late. And this time around, if Dark holds this one, I think what he did was hold down herO's Alt F4 key, as opposed to anything else. Like, he should have no way of holding this right now. The Ravager cocoons are lifted, which stops them from morphing, which is the weirdest thing I've seen today. Wow, okay. I think herO's like, wait a second, how does this work? Right? That's kind of crazy. Meanwhile, just the sheer Gateway army, couple of mortals on the back line, and herO walks in and walks out with a victory. He played Dark perfectly there. Dark was kind of reverted to very standard Zerg. He made all the right calls with the information he had. And herO used that against him. A classic mind game, but gets herO on the board and shows that he's not just going to get walked over today. So far, some pretty one-sided experiences. I guess game 1 was pretty close, but it was mostly herO decided to abandon his immortals. I'm still going back to that, but... And just like that, we're in game 4. Jimmy, I said just like that, we're in a game 4. Thank you. Dark. Yeah, I don't think you'd be too broken up over that one. herO, that is what Protoss thrives on. For better or worse. Being able to pull out another card that you didn't expect. Lay it on the table, ideally, before you have any time to prepare for it. And herO did a beautiful job of it there. The Phoenix is really throwing Dark off. So now Dark, it's his turn. Neo-Humanity, he expands to that center base. Now, the Rich Vespene Geyser is not... I don't think it mines 7 gas a pop, as opposed to just the 4. Or is it 8? Oh my god, is it gold minerals? Either way, it doesn't have more gas, it just mines it more quickly. So, it's kind of a bait, I think, to attack into it too early. As the benefit, it really depends on the build. If Dark wants to do a Ravager all-in, having a Rich Vespene Geyser is certainly going to help. But I don't think herO needs to tailor his entire strategy around taking out this base early. Starts the warp gate. And actually, herO has a very late second gas in the main, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, he's not going to have very much gas at all. This could very well be a Twilight timing. Now what flavor? Adept on the way up. What? Is that a wall? I think I've been fooled by this before. I'm like 80% sure that's a wall. There is a star... Wait, the star... What? What is this wall off here? It... I became confident it was a wall, and then immediately upon... Yeah, now that's cute. Hiding behind those little pillars, lurking. Waiting for the drones to come back and feel safe. Bit of a revolving door of Adepts here. Well, Adepts poking and prodding. It's going to be the Stargate just directly at the front. Yeah. Such a weird... 2 Adepts in the main. It feels like... Yeah, Dark, right now, this is the best way to exploit a Zerg who... And this is part of the reason why you send the probe out in, is because a Zerg who didn't expand to their natural, it's very hard to keep your units spread between. Makes them vulnerable to Adepts, to Oracles. As the Queens aren't all going to be together, there's not going to be the creep. Even the Zerglings will struggle to go back and forth. Dark is at 24 drones. That's not a wall, Dark! Dark! You can go in! Oh my god, it's a mental block. Right? We saw the probe go in. Is it like a mental... I'm losing it over here. Because Dark, like, that's not a wall either. You could just... I'm pretty sure Dark is convinced it's a wall, but we saw a probe go through it. Oh my god. Am I hallucinating? It's very possible. This could be just some sort of fever dream right now. No, that's pretty much Zeratul's entire storyline in StarCraft 2, so why can't I participate? He could have got in. Well, what would he have done with that? I don't know. Probably not too much, but... Dark has like no drones. He's really struggling here. And I don't think getting 6 Lings in would have really made the difference, but... I still want that question answered. Like... Meanwhile... Another kind of odd timing here. 3 Oracles. And, 5 Adepts. Roach Warren just started. Though the Adepts don't have upgrades or anything, Twilight Council just finished. He's gonna get charge. herO all over the production tab here, compared to what we're used to seeing, like Blink +1, anything like that. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills looking at this. I swear I saw a probe go by it. Is that just a collective hallucination? Meanwhile, the Adepts... Cancel. Queen slowly working on the rocks, which will leave the drone line potentially vulnerable. Dark has really been struggling for drones this game. We'll get not even 1 Oracle. Part of the downside of taking that outer base is how many units you need, as I mentioned, to defend it. And Dark, it really showing here. 37 drones, and he's barely lost any. Feels so weird. I guess he has quite an army now. No lair. Charge is done. There's already a dozen zealots on the field. Warping and more. He's got 7 gates. The Dark Shrine. There is no lair. So even though Dark's been pumping units for a while, herO has nearly the same army supply. Well, the Queens definitely tilt things. And Queens have tilted many players before. But the charge lots are at the edge of the creep here. It's not like herO's going to be caught off guard. The Oracles are keeping very good tabs on this. There is no tech. The Dark Shrine is game-winning in this scenario. As Dark does not have a lair. He does not have the economy. All herO has to do is get that Dark Shrine done. If so, he's certainly going to be able to defend any attack Dark throws at him. There's going to be no detection. Unless Dark can get the creep close enough to walk up a spore crawler. The lair is... it just started. herO seems to have thrown some pocket sand at Dark here. And completely... not really bamboozled, but at least got them all turned around. He seems to be predicting almost like the opposite of what herO's doing. The DTs are with the army here. Does he go into Archons, or are we going to fight with the DTs on the ground? Yeah, Dark just now getting over 50 drones. Blink on the way. Generic flavor, not the DT spiciness. Oracles poked away. There is the risk that herO takes two. Ah, Dark saw it. Well, there's actually a spore right there. Oh, come on, herO! Loses 2 out of 4 DTs. 3? He walked by the most obvious spore crawler. herO, what are you doing? Well, that was certainly not the best usage of Dark Templar he could have used. They just died. Well, I mean, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, as they say. Though, you could have avoided the spore crawler that you scouted with your oracles like 3 minutes ago. Anyways. I got it. Well, the Charged Lot Disruptor Army. That is a very tenuous relationship between those two units. The Zealots, not big fans of working with the Disruptors, as they kill Zealots just as, if not more easily than Roaches and Zerglings. Spire's on the way. Dark has survived. herO just taking a 4th. This game has been quite it's been a roller coaster for how relatively little has happened. But we're kind of normalizing somewhat. Though, herO's nearly maxed out. He's got 5 Disruptors. He fires an opening shot, gets a chunk of Roaches. Dark is gonna try Mutas. He's got a dozen Mutas in the bank right now. So, yeah, not a bad call, and probably the lowest hanging, because getting to a hive seems like quite an effort when you didn't start your lair until like 8 minutes. The Disruptors are wandering surprisingly far forward. The Queens may even get one. They do, so it's going to cost most of them. Still, there's just so much Protoss here. And the Disruptors are real and present danger. He hasn't even fired them off. There we go. Finally. But the base at the front already under attack. More Disruptor shots on the chase. Everyone runs away. But it does ward Dark off of his fort. A lot of the drones have been able to escape, but will the hatcheries? The Muta's on the other side. Muta's heading towards the main. There is blink done for the Stalkers. Dark is trying to intercept. He's actually getting some decent probe damage here. Down to 70 probes. Still a pretty healthy number. The Disruptors, herO! Oh my god! Where are you going? Oh, the Mutas! Even if they may... Oh, there's that one. Oh, he gets it. He got it. No, herO. The Mutas may not have done a lot of damage, but they kept herO busy. And now more Disruptors. He fires off a volley. That one gets a good connection, almost accidentally there, as he panic fires. And Dark, there's just such a backstop here, quite literally. The Stalkers warping in the concave. There's still an Oracle getting some damage done. An Immortal trading out here, forces a split away. But Dark's army just doesn't stack up. The Disruptor did enough. The Mutas are gone. And the Stalker count is superior to the Roach count. So, while Dark almost made a mountain out of this particular molehill, the Mutas were just not enough to turn it around. I keep saying like, oh, now herO's got it in the bag. But it's actually way closer now than it even was before that last set of engagements. So, because Dark has +2, herO stopped his upgrades. He's still sitting on +1 ground weapons, which, once again, Disruptors don't care very much about what weapons upgrades you got finished up, but a single Muta, I think that single Muta with the explicit purpose of dealing with an Oracle or a Warp Prism. Well, what an odd game. I still think herO's in a very, very good position, but he's almost played himself out of it already. Alright, 20 Lings on the way, just one Ruptor. He blinks forward, fires the shot. And 2 Ravagers, not bad. Another Ruptor. Single Roach. Alright. And Dark trying to get as much of a fight in as he can before those Ruptors recharge. Ah, the Zealots in the main. The final straw. And we're all tied up. Well. Well. Dark really just never got even... it feels like he almost never got out of the starting block in that game. herO just... I feel like the Phoenix game really threw him through a loop. He, kind of treading water now. Which is a weird place for Dark to be, but herO does that. He seems to short-circuit Dark, at least more than anyone else. And certainly there. Though, it almost backfired. At the end of the day, we're all tied up. Going in to Altitude, the decider match, Game 5. Between the best Terran, or no, literally 2 out of 3 chance, and you screwed it up. The best Protoss and Zerg players in Korea. And herO, the best Protoss player in the world. Of course, Cyril's still looming over us, but... for Dark. Another, like, that I will always cast Dark versus herO. Because I can never predict it. And that, to me, is the most, that's more valuable than the highest level games. The Cyril versus Beyond kind of. In this day and age, having games that you can't predict, and at risk of sounding a bit narcissistic, a risk I take on a regular occasion, but I usually know where it's gonna go. I usually have a pretty good idea, and that's what, hopefully, you enjoy listening to, and makes a decent commentator, analyst, caster, word talker, soothsayer. But these two, individually, and especially when they combine, I think you can tell, just, all right, this is what we're doing. And some of it is the meta that is specifically not Protoss versus Zerg, but Dark versus herO. A meta that develops, or evolves, probably both simultaneously. Doesn't balance out, though. Stargate on the way. Has it been a Stargate every game? I believe so, but just with a different follow-up. Like the same appetizer, but a different entree. We'll see if Dark tries to retake the initiative in Game 5. As it feels like herO's really dictated the pace of it now. And will continue to attempt to do so with a Void Ray. The Stargate, a very versatile building. Somehow, despite playing it every game, he's come up with something new each time. And the Void Ray, an expensive choice, but the easiest way to deny scouting, and not bad against roaches or Zerglings, especially not against roaches. The big drawback is the expense at 250, 150. Quite a bit of build time. It isn't a huge, it doesn't have a lot of utility, unlike the Oracle. Like, it's not going to come across the map. Well, it's unlikely to come across the map and kill drones. It doesn't have detection or revelation. It is just a fighting unit, as most of the Gold League Armada knows. Adepts. Oh. He shades into the natural. 3 kills. 4. Almost gets 5. Void Ray. Does have a great animation. Opens up and says, "That's the one." Back in the day when it charged up, very cool and also very annoying to deal with. Still charges up, but only does bonus damage against armor. Oracle comes in, the Spore Crawler, noticeably late. By the way, an Oracle follow-up, so still going with Moracles behind it. Dark droning hard. He's gonna bleed out a few drones, but none he can't afford here. Zerglings try to poke and prod at the third, but rebuffed by the Adepts and the Oracles out of the Stargate. Twilight and Forge behind. And it looks like herO is falling back to your somewhat more standard blink +1. Feeling a bit more confident. Now, the Twilight, much like the Stargate, has a lot of different branches. But blink by far the most common, just to have some options in the mid-game. Charge lots are dangerous but easily countered if you're prepared for them. Whereas Blink Stalkers might not have as much potential, they also don't have such obvious weaknesses. Especially if you're actually able to micro. 5 kills, 6 kills. Well, it looks like the more Adepts into the natural. 7. I'm great at counting. 8. I mean, the numbers on the screen, but I'm very good at reading the number, and that's what's in 11, 12, 13, 4. Wow. Okay. Honestly, when the Oracle kill count or the drone kill count starts getting higher than the Fast and the Furious movie count, which I'm not... So, the key part of that is I'm not exactly sure how many there are, but I have a general idea. And much like that is drone kills. Whereas, is 9 too many? Probably. But, is it the end of the world? I mean, they'll probably make another one, so... Or maybe 10 more. Am I talking about drones or Fast and the Furious movies? Porque no los dos. Oh, the Oracle knocked out. 2 more. Still finding some. And he's rushing the carry. Wait, carriers? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's carriers. Void Ray still holding down the left side. Dark at only 57 drones. 24 drone kills. Ugh. herO has been slicing through those mineral lines like there's nothing there. Dark will bounce back. He's nearly back to equal, but the amount of larva and just minerals and momentum he lost is significant. And those are all going to be very important when it comes to dealing with the highest tech unit Protoss can build. The carrier. No, I'm not counting the mothership. The mothership is a herO unit. And herO is not... Well, not yet is it a herO unit, but... The carrier, actually, technically the carrier with the interceptor cost is more expensive than the mothership. In terms of resources. Especially if you lose any intercept. We would... Two carriers at a time. Very important, the +1 Protoss air weapons as well. Very much benefits the interceptors, as they do 2 relatively low damage, I believe 8 damage attacks. Which, big benefits from the early air upgrades, especially against things like Queens, or even just taking out Roaches and Corruptors. Usually more hardy units. But the carriers are coming together. Being chrono boosted out, Pathogen Glands is on the way. A hive. It's been such an early game series. Finally, Dark is climbing the tech tree. But does he have any information about this? herO is building up the carrier count. He's once again done an incredible job of hiding this from Dark. And by that I mean keeping Dark so busy with replacing his drones and dealing with the things killing them that he hasn't really put much focus at all into scouting. No Overseers, not that they would be particularly likely to get in. The carriers have not moved out of the base. Yeah, the Void Ray is in position to deny scouting from Overlords, Overseers, ideally. Ultraless Cavern is on the way. Infestors are popping out, so some basic defense. The Queen count at 9. He's building 3 at a time. So I think he has his suspicions, or at the very least wants to recreate the herO-lisk experience. Oh. But herO, where are the carriers? Oh, he's ready to show them. 4 carriers done. And that herO unit on the way. The mothership is in production. And Dark, his anti-air is just queens and infestors. I say just, but that's actually a lot of anti-air. Well, the Roach Lang. Storm is on the way. It's not done yet. There's a stasis well tucked into the cannon there. Very nice stasis location. Adrenal glands. Ragnarok, take note. What's in the prism? Zealots. Gonna keep them busy. No Spire at all for Dark. It's been so long. He hasn't seen the carrier. It's getting bad. Carrier's 5 and 6. He's almost maxed out. Like, Dark is one of the best players in the world against carriers. But he's gonna be, yeah, immediately turns around. But I think herO's just gonna go now. No reason to let him sit back and figure out how to deal with this, because he will figure it out. It looks like Dark is gonna try to hold it with Infestor Queen. Zealots up to the northern side. Spore Crawler zones out the War Prism. Storm is done. The Templar, one of them gets taken out by Zerglings, but Ultra's on the way to help deal with it. A dozen queens? Well, maybe less here in a moment. There is no anti-air. Well, Infestor, once again, Infestor Queen is anti-air. We might even see a Microbial Shroud or two, as that is the best chance. Oh no, the Zealot bombed the herO. Oh, gets distracted easily. Or herO's move command. Ah, his F2. Yep, his hotkeys include 2 groups of... He has 2 control groups for his Templar and nothing else for his army control. He doesn't want to fat finger that one. Now, this is not the ideal fighting location for herO. Microbial Shroud over the entire army. The Ultra helping out a lot. The Infestor is being targeted. Oh, the carriers. Beautiful fungal, and Storm is on top of his own carriers. Microbial Shroud means the queens within the shroud of the herO is taking the worst possible fight right now. I don't know how much worse it could get. Well, there's no detection for Dark besides fungal at the moment. The Microbial Shrouds are reducing the damage from the carriers. I can't believe Microbial Shroud, the real MVP here. The most effective Microbial Shrouds I may have ever seen. But the problem still remains. Well, actually, the queens are working. The prism! The prism! He didn't kill, he burrows the queens, which I think was an accident. Here come the Ultras. This fight is continuing. He's still going. The queens are taking, they're taking superficial damage. The armor is so good. The Microbial Shroud is rendering the carrier. Those are +2 carriers. The queens are shrugging them off. He's not even building a spire. The fight keeps going. Another Microbial, he burrows. The Ultras, that's just not doing any damage. This is so weird. What a fight. But he hasn't quite killed the carriers. Underneath, the queens are still there. The carriers are still alive. +3 air weapons on the way. He's gonna burrow those infestors. He does. But the Ultras are in the natural. He hasn't killed the carriers. They've rebuilt their interceptors. Dark, another infestor pops out. The queens pop out. He's trying to deal with it. The interceptors fling back. But the queens, I think he's trying to deal with the other side. Dark nearly did what, I won't say impossible, but I'll definitely go with improbable. Fighting carriers with just queens and infestors. And while on paper they can help deal with them, I've never seen a fight quite like that. Microbial Shroud getting incredible value, and I think with a little bit more behind it, Maybe a little bit better upgrades on the queens. Those carriers are so low. But at the end of the day, they're still alive. And with the interceptors swarming, that perfect fight will not happen again. herO. That is like that is one of the longest fights I have ever seen involving carrier. Wow. All right, well, Dark's not dead, but it's certainly not doing great. Fungal thrown out, catches the Warp Prism and the Dark Templar. Dark is down to 140 supply. And he has not built a Spire. There are 8 carriers and a mothership still. I appreciate his commitment to the cause here of trying to get this done with only queens. Why is the mothership pulling back? Is he scared of a Viper? Dark hasn't actually built any Vipers. He wants to do this with Infestor Queen. He's got 69 drones, but barely any mining. herO has established another base to the south. Well, oh no. Oh no, not again! Deja vu! No, not again! herO, where's your observer? He has one, but the carriers are turned. He does have detection. If he could get, you gotta neural parasite the observer! Or fungal it or something, microbial shroud on the infestors. Throws the fungals. It's not enough. He just didn't have enough left over. herO should be thanking his StarCrafts right now that he was able to kill Dark here, because Dark was putting together an even more dangerous composition. Wow. Even, well, that overshadows a little of the fact that herO just won. He won. Okay, he did it. In a world where, if YouTube comments are to be believed, that is the most rare thing to ever happen in StarCraft 2 history. A reverse sweep for herO. 3-2. Doing the exact opposite of what Dark did, or doing the exact same thing Dark did last week in the Korean StarCraft 2 finals. The story continues. I've been Donnie no, wait. I've been Winter. I'm excited to bring you the updated developments between the two most dynamic players in the most dramatic meta in the game. And if you enjoy, make sure to support our sponsors. All right? Patreon. If you have the means and motivation, check it out. YouTube membership as well exists. And either way, be awesome if you could like. If you haven't yet, you made it this far to the whole outro bit, you're either asleep, wake up, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you already have, pat on the back. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.